October 21st, 2025. Wanted to welcome everyone to the City Council meeting. I know we have perhaps first-timers, and we have perhaps folks that have been here before, but welcome. I'd like to call the meeting to order, and Madam City Clerk, if you please take roll.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. I'm happy to do that after Councilmember Syrup leads on the Pledge of Allegiance.
Madam City Clerk, let's not take roll, and let's wait for Councilmember Syrup to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please rise if you're able.
Flag's over there. That way. We moved the flag. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Yes, I had the flag moved because, unbeknownst to me, the flag was improperly placed. The flag should be to my right, or to the dais' right, and to the audience left. So, anyways, we're for all this time, it hasn't been right, but now we're good. We're good. Okay, Madam City Clerk, can you please take roll?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councilmember Andrews.
Present.
Councilmember Bonilla Jr.
Present.
Councilmember Goldstein.
Present.
Councilmember Roach.
Present.
Councilmember Syrup.
Present.
Councilmember Cermeño.
Presente.
Mayor Salinas.
Present. Thank you. Next is our closed session announcement. Mr. City Attorney, if you can please make an announcement for October 14th and October 21st, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. On October 14th, the Council did meet in closed session to discuss the appointment of a city manager. Council took no reportable action. Council met in closed session this evening and discussed the appointment of a city manager, which will take place later in the agenda. Council also met with its labor negotiators and took no reportable action.
Thank you, Mr. City Attorney. Next is a presentation. The presentation is the Beacon program. This is a Leadership and Innovation Award presented to the City of Hayward by the Institute for Local Government. And Madam?
I believe this is going to be online.
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
There you are. There you go. Go right ahead.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. I have a couple slides, which I hope are up on the screen there. My name is Nikita Sinha. I'm a program manager for the Institute for Local Government, or ILG. ILG, for those of you not familiar, is the nonprofit education and training affiliate of the League of California Cities. And in 2010, we launched the Beacon program, which is a recognition program focused on acknowledging the many steps that local governments were proactively taking to address climate change, energy efficiency, and greenhouse gas reduction. If the slides are up, if you move over to the second slide there. In 2021, the Beacon program introduced new award categories, the Leadership and Innovation Awards, which celebrate the efforts of local governments to implement collaborative, inclusive, and equitable climate resilience and adaptation programming in their communities. The Leadership and Innovation Awards recognize local governments for leadership in climate innovation, climate resilience and adaptation, cross-agency collaboration, equity and engagement in sustainability and climate, innovation in clean transportation, and innovation in clean energy. We're excited to celebrate Hayward as the 2025 awardee for equity and engagement in sustainability and climate for the city's work to prioritize environmental justice and community engagement with the Climate Action Plan. We have a short video to celebrate the city's efforts, which I believe is queued up.
The City of Hayward will receive the Award for Equity and Engagement in Sustainability and Climate for their efforts to engage communities of color, low-income residents, special needs populations, youth, and others while developing their climate action plan.
So on behalf of the Institute for Local Government, I'd like to congratulate the City of Hayward and say thank you for being a part of the Beacon program, and congratulations on all of the good work.
Thank you. Yeah, let's give Public Works and I know we have our Director of Public Works here, Alex Zameri is here, and I do know Eric Pearson is also online. Eric Pearson is our Environmental Services Manager, and big shout out to Mr. Pearson. Mr. Pearson has really been, he's the Environmental Services Manager, and Mr. Pearson has literally been at the forefront of our climate action plan goals. He's been at the forefront of all of the stuff that we've been doing to reduce our carbon footprint. And I know that, with Eric's work and with, of course, our Director Amiri's work, Hayward has literally led the way in our fight against climate change. And so anyways, let's give Public Works and Eric Pearson and of course the city for this big, for this wonderful award. So let's clap it up. Let's do it. Not to be outdone, Mr. Amiri, we have we're not going to have the presentation tonight, but Councilmember Bonilla and I, we were at the League of California Cities conference, and in addition to Eric Pearson, Environmental Services, and our Public Works Department, our economic development department also were acknowledged by the League of California Cities, Cal Cities, for our for a new innovative program that came out of COVID that was born out of economic development. Cal Cities is going to come to they're going to come to a city council meeting. They're going to present the award to our economic development team, and the partners involved in the grant, Cal State East Bay, Chabot College, Eden, EOP, they're all going to be here too. So anyways, that is coming in a few weeks, so be here. Okay, next item is public comment. This is reserved for anybody in the public that would like to make a public comment on something that is on the agenda or not on the agenda. Is there anybody here that would like to make a public comment? I have one card. Lucy Lopez, from the President and CEO of the Hayward Chamber of Commerce. Welcome.
Good evening. Yes. All right. Well, good evening, Mayor and council members. On behalf of the Hayward Chamber of Commerce and my board of directors, I'm here this evening to express immense gratitude to the community partners who made our September Mariachi Festival and our inaugural Taste of Hayward event a resounding success. In working to continue to elevate the programs that the Chamber hosts in alignment with our strategic partners, we did make the decision to move the Mariachi Festival to Southland Mall this year after 15 years, which was a strategic improvement to enable us to significantly expand the festival footprint, bring more awareness and foot traffic to Southland Mall, and to also leverage the awesome billboard advertising that is seen by tens of thousands of daily commuters on I-80. And we also wanted the opportunity to have more activities, elevate our performances, vendors, and provide more experiences for our guests. So with that, we had the opportunity to introduce charros, which are dancing horses. So that was in partnership with a chamber member and respected business here in Hayward, Monada Roofing. And we also had the opportunity to introduce Lucha Libre Wrestling for the first time in partnership with Lucha Libre Promotions, which also yielded a very strong family attendance. So we saw an uptick in children's and families engaging in the event. The festival brought together just about a little over 8,000 attendees, which was roughly about a 35% increase from last year. And also the generosity from our business partners really demonstrated their commitment to the economic development here in our city of Hayward. And their contributions also helped create a more uplifting and fun day, because we did have it from 12 to 6 versus having it in the evening. So where families gathered, played, and the kids, we saw them playing a lot in the wrestling ring, but we were also able to feature a lot more local artists for the first time, merchants who obviously showcased all of their talents and and products. And we also saw an increase in the foot traffic within Southland Mall, so we're very excited about that. And so I also want to take this opportunity to recognize our partners and our sponsors who really helped in sharing in this vision. First, I'd like to give a huge recognition and thanks to our partners at the Hayward Area Recreation and Park District, also the Hayward Area Recreation Park District Foundation, Southland Mall, Waste Management, the City of Hayward, AC Transit, Casa del Toro, Buffalo Bills, Metro Taquero, Lone Tree Cemetery, Casa Sanchez Foods, BMO, El Taquito Dos, Grand Centenario Tequila, Bay Area Backyard Movement, RN Sound, CME Security, Alameda Enterprises, Janitorial Services, and I also want to give a huge recognition to our volunteers, the Chabot Fire Club, Elisar Castillo, Maribel Palacio, and Tom Ferreira, whom are our chamber ambassadors. I think I'm running a little late, so I apologize. May I say one more thing on the Taste of Hayward? Thank you. Our first and very successful Taste of Hayward was held 2 weeks ago, and this unforgettable evening also came alive through flavor and community, where over 500 ticket holders strolled through downtown Hayward. So it was very refreshing to look from City Hall all the way downtown and see over 500 people enjoying our 23 restaurants who opened their doors for a self-guided culinary tour. It was a sold-out event and was sponsored in partnership with the Downtown Hayward Improvement Association, Fuse Events, Waste Management, Leaf Filter Gutter Protection, the Oakland Roots and Oakland Soul. I also want to take this opportunity to thank the Hayward Police Department, the Hayward Fire Department, and their staff who really helped these events come to fruition. These don't happen without our community partnerships and the support of our partners. And lastly, I just want to say on behalf of the Chamber, we are very excited about the appointment of Jennifer Ott as our new city manager. We support the selection and hopeful hiring of that, so we are looking forward to the opportunity to welcome her back here in Hayward. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is online, and it is Victoria Hernandez. Ms. Hernandez?
Yes, hi. My name is Victoria Hernandez. I live at 22377 Western Boulevard. I'm a social worker living and working here in Hayward. I submit this public comment to request support from the city to provide relief from continuous motor vehicle accidents involving parked vehicles on Western Boulevard between Laurel and Smalley Avenue. I brought a slide deck and a video for you to review. Since 2019, there have been more than 10 moving vehicle accidents involving distracted or impaired drivers, resulting in multiple injuries, at least one instance of community violence, stress on the residents, and tens of thousands of dollars in damage to property, including 5 of my cars. I'm worried because I fear that if we don't do something, that somebody may be gravely injured. As a matter of fact, in 2019, a boy was hit and severely injured, and I don't know what happened to him. I did submit a traffic calming application on September 9th, and I'm also requesting a follow-up for that. These accidents are happening all in the middle of the night. If you scroll all the way to slide number 5, yep. So this is the location of the traffic issues. You can just kind of scroll to the next slide. All of the cars are coming southbound on Western Boulevard on the western side of the tracks. I believe that is all part of Incorporated Hayward. Go ahead and go to the next slide. If you see here, the intersection narrows quite a bit at Laurel Avenue, and I believe this may be part of the reason why this is happening. Next slide. The bulk of the accidents are happening on the northernmost corner, my house in the middle, and then at the end of the block. Go ahead and just go to the next slide. There's a few photos that I brought. Next slide. Yeah, this is the one where the child was hit. You can see the bicycle underneath. Next slide. Both of these vehicles were mine. And at this time, the driver fled and then returned and assaulted me and my husband, who ended up in the hospital. Next slide. And you can just scroll through these at this point. I mean, they're just pictures of cars that have been hit on the block in question here. So again, respectfully, I request some follow-up. The most recent accident was on the 10th of this month. And fortunately, nobody was harmed, but it was pretty jarring to get woken up in the middle of the night. There was an overturned vehicle in front of my house, and my car was totaled. I had to go buy a car, even though I don't really have the money and wasn't planning on buying a new car. So I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, we did receive, I did see the video, and we did receive the slide deck, and I'm sure, and coincidentally, our chief of police is also in the room, and he heard your comments, and we will follow up in the next day or two. So, but thank you very much for calling in. I don't have any other calls online. I don't have any other cards. So I'd like to close public comment and then move on to city manager's comments. And our city manager is not here this evening. She's at a conference. Our interim city manager is at a conference this evening. So Assistant City Manager Mary Thomas will deliver.
Yes, I am here to step in, and yes.
I think you're going to pass it over to me in a moment, but go ahead.
I am, but I'm going to make two announcements first.
Okay.
And yes, Agenti apologizes that she couldn't be here. She is at a prior commitment. But thank you. I want to use this space to highlight two events that are happening this Saturday, and then we also are here to honor some HUSD students, which I'm really excited about. So compost giveaway, first of all, is this Saturday, October 25th. This is something the city does every year. It's a free compost giveaway open to all Hayward households and multifamily property managers. It is from 7:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m., and it is at the Old SkyWest Golf Course on 1401 Golf Course Road. You can get more information at hayward-ca.gov/compost. Compost can improve your moisture retention in soil and promote plant growth and trap carbon emissions. This is enabled annually by our franchise agreement with Waste Management, and they are using the compost made from food scraps and yard waste in Bay Area households. So it's a great way to close that loop. And then secondly, the Hayward Public Library has their largest event of the year this Saturday on October 25th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m., which is the Trunk or Treat event at Heritage Plaza across the street from the downtown library. Just a heads up to everyone, to accommodate the event, we do close Walken Street and part of C Street, so AC Transit does reroute. The neighbors have been notified. It's the largest event of the year. It features Halloween treats, more than 20 trunks, face painting, free food, cultural events, and live music. So please come out. It's happening with Promise Fest by Hayward Promise Neighborhoods, which is a partnership of local educators and government agencies. Costumes are encouraged. They're not required, but they are encouraged, and everyone's welcome to come for family fun. So those are the two events. And then in addition, we have the HUSD Migrant Education Speak and Debate program here tonight. The City of Hayward is proud to recognize students from this program. The Migrant Education Speak and Debate program swept the top 3 places in the Region 1 competition for both middle and high school divisions. I believe they brought some of their awards tonight to share for our photos, as well as receiving a prestigious honors at the state competition in May for their speech performance and leadership. So I'm going to welcome them. They're going to say a few words, and then I believe, or Mayor, they're going to say a few words. We have a certificate of recognition for you that we want to present, or the mayor will present.
Yeah, then I believe the speaker is Angelica Alamillo Perez.
Thank you. Yes, I'm Angelica Alamillo Perez. I'm the Director of Multilingual Learner Programs for Hayward Unified School District, and I oversee the Migrant Education Program. And I'd like to introduce my team, or the team. I have Vanessa Hernandez, who is a bilingual recruiter. Francisca Montes is one of the teachers and also one of our case managers. And this is Rafael Velasquez Cardenas, who is one of the teachers for the speech and debate. So I'm going to pass it over to him really quick.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Mainly this is for the students. We're super proud of our Hayward speech and debate team. The Migrant Ed team this year not only had middle school, but also a high school team, and we competed in both English and Spanish. So we're extremely proud of them. Brought home medals in both the state and the regional tournament. This team of students started training in January of last year, and all of the training is after school on their time, in addition to all of their high school and middle school coursework. So, like I said, very diligent, and we're very, very proud of them. They showed up in March in Salinas to compete against dozens of teams from different regions, and there we took home some gold. So students, can we show the crowd some of our medals here? And they represented Hayward beautifully. This also qualified many of our team members to the state competition, where they competed against hundreds of the top competitors from across the state. We left quite an impression there, and we put our name on the map at the state competition. Many people complimented our students, and they demonstrated an incredible teamwork, discipline, and poise. I'm very, very proud to say we brought home trophies even from the state tournament, but I'm even more proud of having the opportunity to have worked with these wonderful young leaders. So can we please give them the round of applause they deserve?
You know, just by the look of it, I mean, you guys just cleaned house, apparently. Apparently. I don't want to put any of you on the spot, and if it's, if you don't want to, that's okay, but can you cite some of your speech in English and or in Spanish?
Maybe while they think about it, they had part of the competition, they had memorized speeches. If I'm not mistaken, it was on the fast fashion culture and whether it's a waste. Then the other team was on vaping, am I mistaken? And then water bottles and plastic waste. And then the second part of each tournament, they had spontaneous speeches or extemporaneous. So they got prompts on the fly, and they had 10 minutes to write and then present. So, nice. I mean, maybe they don't recall from last year, but if they did, does anyone want to share?
No? Okay. Well, if you don't want to do that, that's okay. But I will say this, and maybe this is for the teachers. The Hayward Rotary every year puts on a speech contest, and the speech contest is usually around January, February of every year. So we will make sure that the Rotary, the speech contest coordinators reach out to you guys, because we need, and you can even deliver your speech in Spanish if you want. So, well, great, ladies and gentlemen, the Migrant Education Program at Hayward Unified. Let's give them a big round of applause. And then we do have a certificate of recognition, and the certificate says Hayward Unified School District Migrant Education Speech and Debate Program, in recognition of the outstanding students who participated and demonstrated excellence in critical thinking, research, and public speaking, and for their recent success in the Region 1 state championships in the speech and debate competition, presented this 21st day of October 21st. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give them another big round of applause. And then what we'll do is you guys stay there. We'll go down there. We'll take a big picture, and then we'll break the internet. How's that? All right, let's go. Okay, I need you to turn around and line up against right here. Yeah, there you go. And then I need you to hold that. You hold that. And the city clerk is going to take a picture, and I'm sure. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. We lost a member. Okay, that's fine. Okay, thank you very much. So I will move on to our consent calendar, and nobody has asked to pull an item.
Sorry.
Mayor Pro
I
Tem
don't want
Roach.
to pull, I just had a question about each one.
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Thank you. To staff, maybe Assistant City Manager. I wanted to ask on the on consent item number 2, when it says the city's contribution to the staff report, am I assuming that's from their budget from the Enterprise Airport Fund? That's not a general fund. Okay, thank you. All right, great, because it just said city contribution. Wanted to make sure. And then on the fire grant, the grant for the fire department, I assume now that means that we can sort of we don't need to allocate the general fund amount that we approved a few weeks ago for the paramedic program.
So there is a match required. So some of that money will be required, and we can't use staff time for the match. However, we are also asking for, we're filing to ask for, going back in time, can we take some of the money that's already been spent as credit, and so that would reimburse the general fund.
For
So
that,
in
so it was
short,
like 325.
yeah, the staff report, I'm pulling it up right now, has, let's see, we've already paid $91,000 in tuition, so if we do get credit for that, and I don't know if Chief Fulmer, if you want to, we can reapply that to the grant and reimburse the general fund.
Okay.
We do have to make a match of $157,000, so that will need to come, but that's less than the $300,000 that was asked
I
for
see.
before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good evening. Yes, it's true. We do have to do a 10% match. So total match is going to be $178,000. We have that is going to be met through a combination of paying for the tuition and supply costs. So tuition and books. $158,000 in tuition is what we're looking at doing, and that is coming from an existing CIP budget, as indicated in the prior report. And then $30,000 in supplies like books, uniforms, and that type of deal. And that is coming from our existing Hayward Fire Department budget.
Okay. Okay.
And then as far as the $91,000 from the Fund 405, that was our first installment that we owed, that we had to pay out of that $300,000 from the September 23rd report. We have put in for that to potentially be reimbursed after the fact, but since we had paid it before the grant was approved, it's not eligible at this time.
Oh, I see, because it wasn't, okay. Okay, so of the 325 that we approved a few weeks ago, that 91,000 was spent.
Yes.
But that's it, right? Because everything else was already in the fire budget.
Yes,
right? Okay.
everything else. And then with the remainder of that money will be able to be covered by the grant.
By the grant, okay. Okay, thank you for explaining that.
Thank you. I don't have any other questions, and so I will close the question part, open up for public comment. I don't have any public comment regarding the consent calendar. I will close public comment, and I'll return back up here for motion.
I'll move.
Moved by Mayor Pro Tem Roach, seconded by Councilmember Andrews. And if there are no objections, this item will unanimously pass. Thank you. Moving on to our work session item. Actually, before I move on to the work session, I just wanted to take a quick privilege of the chair. I just wanted to acknowledge we have some high school students here from their government class observing the city council and observing local government in action. So let's give our high school students a big round of applause over there. Nice. What high schools you guys from? Hayward High? Nice. Anyone from Mount Eden? No? Tennyson? No? Okay. Go Farmers.
Mayor, they were here last
Yeah,
meeting
I know.
as well.
Yeah, I know. They were here. So good. No, I know they were here last week, last time. So, well, great. Thank you guys, and welcome to City Hall. Okay. So moving on to our work session. Item number 4 is our city budget status update. This is an oral report by city manager, but I believe our assistant city manager, Mary Thomas, will be delivering this oral report.
Yes, and I don't have any slides today. This is going to be a standing item, and so we will provide information as it becomes available. So I have a few talking points, and then I will open it up for any questions that you have. So I first want to mention that last Wednesday, October 15th, the Council Budget and Finance Committee did meet and review 10 years of budget to actuals, and that recording is available online in case anyone wants to watch that discussion. In addition, the attachments of all the spreadsheets, I think it's like 64 pages, is online, so you can look at that if anyone in the public is interested. In addition, we are preparing, and this is not something that we've always done in the past, but a quarterly report on our first quarter actuals, and that will be done and ready for council at the beginning of next week, and we can discuss how we make that available to the public. Perhaps it's presented at the Budget and Finance Committee meetings. And then, as requested by the City Council, we've brought on 2 financial consultants that we're working with the finance team. Basically, our Deputy Finance Director, along with our accounting and budget teams, are working with them daily at this point to conduct a financial review, both of last year's numbers as well as our current fiscal position. So this financial review will be presented to all of you to help us really understand how we ended last year. But in addition, we're using it to make sure that we're verifying our estimated budget for this year, as well as it will be used as a launching off point for our long-range forecast to make sure that the forecast is accurate. And this is in addition to the audit that happens annually every time this year. So we do have those staff are generating a lot of reports right now for different outside people and making good progress. In addition, right at this moment, in terms of activities since last time, each department's conducting an exercise to identify additional potential cost savings on top of the reductions that have already been made this year. And based on this exercise, we'll be bringing recommendations for council comment for you to review on November 18th. So the public can view that at the time. Finally, I want to mention that yesterday, in light of the fiscal situation, the city issued a notice of cancellation of funding availability for next fiscal year for community agency funding program. This decision was really not made lightly. We understand the really difficult impact that will have on agencies that apply for this funding. However, this was the fiscally responsible decision that staff felt we needed to make. As I mentioned above, staff from all departments, we're not trying to single out this particular activity. We'll be recommending cost-saving measures. This decision was announced yesterday just because we did have a timeline for the community agency funding process that we needed to get ahead of. So those are my updates on budget. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer any.
Councilmember or Mayor Pro Tem Roach.
Thank you, and thank you for keeping this on the agenda and continuing to talk about it so that we can understand and the community can understand. One question I had is, because obviously our budget situation is serious and we're going to be talking about it for a long time, can you give some sort of high-level understanding what the community might feel as we make these cuts? I mean, I think obviously when you just announced that a lot of the nonprofits in the area won't be eligible to get grants in the next year, at least. But anything else, like what they should worry about that they're going to feel, any services or anything like that the community should worry about what we're doing here?
I honestly, this is the kind of thing that will be with the departmental reviews. I don't want to speak to any off the cuff, but I think the idea would be to present a comprehensive view of here's the different types of things. In terms of I definitely, in terms of outside grants, so we were already looking at the community agency funding. I think there are other grants the city's provided. We'll be looking at all of those.
Okay.
In terms of other things, some of the core items like sewer, water, streets are all paid for by outside funding sources. So the items that are paid for by general fund are more on the public safety library side of things. So we're still reviewing what the service impacts would be.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I just think it'll be important to keep talking about what the literal reality
Yeah,
is to the community.
so that is definitely, we'll have that by November 18th. If we have information before to share, we can bring that. Yeah.
And then my second question is, on the financial consultants, I'm really happy to hear they're on board and doing that work. Do we have I didn't ask this far, do we have a duration on, how long are we going to be paying them to do this work? Just because it is an added expense.
Yeah, so the initial, the sort of first 45-day marching orders we're really looking at the high profile items. So our cash flow, looking at where we ended last year to make sure that our net position that we are going to be presenting to you on November 18th is, within a margin of error. We're still being audited, so it won't be finalized, but very close. And also looking at some of our financial practices to make sure we have checks and balances in place.
Okay.
We can anticipate all that to be done by the end of this calendar year. However, I think based on some of these findings, if there is additional advice or guidance that the finance team needs, we may be asking for somewhat of an additional extension. So, and we can present the full cost to you guys as it goes.
Thank you, and I just really appreciate all the work that you're all doing to keep this front and center and continue to work on it. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Andrews.
Thank you. You answered some of my questions already, but I'll just go through the items that I have here. So it looks like we have a fiscal recovery team, and I don't know what the exact titles are, but it includes an audit as well as a project manager that will be managing.
Yeah, so there's
work.
an in-depth audit where they do, they do polls to do spot checking on items, as well as these sort of analysts that are doing the higher level review of our just our numbers and how our processes. So.
And I know that we're working hard to do a 5-year plan. Will they also be working on 10-year as well? I know we did get 10-year look back, but 10-year future as well. Would they be working on that,
I
or is
think
it another team looking at that?
Realistically, the marching order, because we want to get something in front of you well before you look at next year's fiscal year, so January or February. Probably 5 years is what we can look at by then, but I think if that's council's request, we can extend that goal to 10 years.
Okay, and we can focus on the 5-year, but that's something
That's something you would like to see, yeah.
And then I do think we should also look at, this may not be for the recovery team right now, but in terms of a recovery plan, include that real-time information, financial information, 10-year forecast, and a timeline and a plan to South-Sea in that 5 to 10 year plan. And then wanted to see if we can also look at, in that plan, define roles and responsibilities. I think we're getting a lot of feedback from the community in terms of what we should be doing moving forward, but I think an education to the public of what we can and can't do based on our charter and our city manager / city council form of government, not to assign blame, but to provide transparency so people are aware of what we can and can't do as council versus what staff can do and can't do. So is that something that we can also include in terms of looking at not just the fiscal recovery plan, but also looking at how we do budget updates, not in the Budget and Finance Committee, but also to the full council, so the public can see this in a more transparent way?
Yeah, so I think in particular, one of my goals is to bring back to you all the financial policies that are already in the budget, some of which we were following more than others, but review those and see if there's things we want to update. We will have these fiscal analysts provide recommendations on ones that they think we could make more robust. As well as practice. There's the financial policies and there's also the internal practices. But I think for each of those, we could go through and say, whose responsibility is this to ensure that we're following this policy? Is it staff? Is it council? Just to be really clear about roles.
Okay, great. And then also as part of the plan, or maybe reviewing the budget accounting practices and systems, I think that's what you're referring to, but also if we can bring back to the public how we are preparing for emergencies, even with this budget issue that we have. Just looking at fire PD service planning, management, budgeting for emergencies that include earthquake, fire, extreme heat, all these things that is at the top of our minds, but I don't think the public is really seeing all the planning that is still happening, even though we're in this budget situation. I would like to bring that to the council so they'll know that we are budgeting for emergencies. And then also in the future, really looking at the staffing of events, because that is also something that we should all look at, because our business community should be looking at how to support us if they want to have events as well as community engagement. So those are the things I would like to see for future budget updates as well as part of the plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Bonilla.
I don't really have a question. I just wanted to, thank staff for all of their hard work that they're putting into this. I know that there's daily discussions that are happening around this, that there's a lot of creativity that's going into this. There's a lot of teamwork and collaboration in City Hall to solve for this, and I just wanted to acknowledge that and say thank you.
I appreciate it. I'll pass that on to all the staff. There's a lot of staff working.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Zermenio.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Mary. I believe that we are going to try and do this every week, every time we have a meeting. I think that's an excellent idea. It's a good way for our residents to know that we are on top of this and that we are working hard to solve it. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I don't have any other questions. This is an informational item, so I will move on to our public hearing, which is PH 25-045. This is this is in the matter of 900 Calhoun rezoning, proposed zoning map amendment of a 0.94 acre site located at 900 Calhoun Street. Assessor's parcel number is APN 078C -0647-001-02 from Agriculture A District to low density residential minimum lot size 10,000 square feet RLB 10 district consistent with the low density residential general plan land use designation. Application number MTA-25-0002. Applicant and property owner Armand Poyar, and I believe our Director of Development Services, Sarah Bowser, will deliver this. And yes, and hold on a second. And Taylor Richard and Associate Planner Taylor Richard will begin. However, before we begin, I'd like to defer now to Councilmember Bonilla.
Thank you, Mayor. I live within 500 feet of this project, so I'll have to recuse myself.
So you need to.
Mayor Salinas. Sorry to interrupt, but with respect to the work session, there is an opportunity for public comment. Public comment was not invited. So just for the record, I would suggest that you invite public comment before opening the public hearing.
Oh, I see. I get it. Yeah, okay. Oh, you mean for the budget item? Oh, yes. Because it was, yes, okay, all right. So let me close this item, go back to item number 4, reopen it, go to public comment. Is there any public comment? I don't have any cards regarding this item. I don't see anybody online, so I will close this item and then move on to item number 5. And my apologies, Mr. City Attorney and Councilmember Bonilla. Thank you. Okay.
All right. Good evening, Mayor and
Director
Council. As you mentioned and alluded to just a moment ago, I am going to turn it very quickly over to Associate Planner Taylor Richard, who will be presenting this item this evening. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, and Hayward community. I am Taylor Richard, an Associate Planner with the City of Hayward Planning Division. Tonight, we will be reviewing a proposed rezoning, and CEQA findings at 900 Calhoun Street. Before we get into the proposed project, I want to share some background on the site. In 1987, the Hayward City Council approved the Mission Garin Neighborhood Plan, which changed the general plan land use designation from agriculture to low-density residential. This plan was developed based on robust community feedback and recommendations from a community task force. It is unclear why the zoning was not updated to be consistent with the general plan at that time. Moving forward to 2013, a two-story detached residence was constructed on the site. Following that, in 2015, the city denied a rezoning for the subject property at 900 Calhoun Street and the adjacent site at 890 Calhoun Street. That proposal was to rezone from the agricultural district, also known as the A district, to the low-density residential minimum lot size 10,000 square feet, also known as the RLB10 district. This is the same proposal we will be reviewing tonight, with the exception that the proposal tonight only includes 900 Calhoun Street. In 2021, the city issued permits to construct an ADU, and that brings us all the way to today. Last month, the project was presented to the Hayward Planning Commission, where they recommended 6-1 that the City Council deny the project. They cited concerns regarding the existing general plan land use designation and the potential future development. Before we dive into the project, I also wanted to share some applicable provisions of California state law. The state requires that all cities have zoning ordinances that are consistent with their general plan. Previously, this requirement only applied to non-charter cities, but in 2019, the law was updated to include charter cities like Hayward. The state says if the zoning ordinance does become inconsistent with the general plan, the city has two courses of action. The city can amend their zoning ordinance to be consistent with the general plan within 180 days of receiving a development application. Alternatively, the city can process a development application, but can only apply objective standards that would allow the density prescribed in the general plan. Now, let's dive into the project. To orientate everyone to the project site, it is located within the Mission Garin neighborhood in East Hayward at 900 Calhoun Street. The project site is directly located to the Holy Sepulchre Cemetery and Parcel Group 4 to the north, Mellow Mule Company to the east, detached residence to the south, and a rural estate with ancillary agricultural uses to the west. As indicated also in the picture, there is significant low-density residential development to the southwest. The project site is generally sloped with very steep slopes in the northeastern corner of the site. The northeastern corner of the site is also located within the seismic landslide zone, and the entire site is located in the Alcos Prialo fault zone. As noted previously, the site is currently zoned A, and the applicant is proposing to rezone the site to RLB10. At this time, there is no development proposed, and any future development would require review and approval by the city. The proposed zoning is to remove barriers to allow for the future subdivision of the subject property, which is not currently achievable under the zoning. The proposed zoning district of RLB10 is consistent with the existing development and the surrounding development to the southwest. Furthermore, it is fully consistent with the Hayward 2040 general plan, specifically the existing general plan land use designation of low-density residential and several housing and land use policies described in the staff report. Lastly, since the project is fully consistent with the Hayward 2040 general plan, for which there was an environmental impact report prepared for, no further environmental review is needed. With that, staff is recommending that the City Council approve the proposed rezoning applications. At this time, I'm more than happy to answer any questions you may have. Additionally, I want to introduce the applicant team, Aman Poyar, the project property owner, and Doug Rogers, a civil engineering designer, who I might call on to answer some of your questions.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Okay, so we have questions. This is a public hearing, so I will start with council questions first. Mayor Pro Tem Roach.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. So can you go back to the slide? So you said, so am I right in that we're kind of caught in a bit of a state-local technicality here? Because our general plan is pretty clear that this should be zoned low-density residential, but it was originally agriculture. And agricultural, and somehow we didn't update that in the past. So now the state gives us two options. Either we rezone the whole area or we do it application by application. Is that right, what we're talking about here?
Yeah, if we receive a development application, either we need to rezone the property within 180 days of receiving that application, or we process the development application, but we will be limited in the standards that we will be able to apply, because we won't be able to apply any objective standards that would preclude the density allowed at the general plan.
Okay, and then right now this is just a zoning question, right? Like we're not deciding on some unknown future development at this point.
Correct.
Okay.
And the applicant has indicated their only wish for this rezoning application is to provide the allowance to in the future subdivide the property.
Like a SB9, like a lot split situation? Is that?
I don't believe under SB9. I think they just want to do like a standard tentative map.
And then what is the maximum, what would be like under low density residential, what would they be, what's sort of the most of what they'd be allowed to do in the site?
So the density is not changing because it's prescribed by the general plan.
Mm-hmm.
So currently, they would be allowed to develop 8 dwelling units, and if after this rezoning, they would also be allowed to develop 8
So they
dwelling
could
units.
do that currently even
Correct.
if it was considered agricultural right now?
But
Okay.
we would not be able to apply any of our objective standards that are in the RL district that would preclude that density. So if we rezone it, it gives us protection and the ability to apply all of our objective standards.
Okay, and just like, I just wanted to clear again, so there's no, I understand there's maybe some future speculation about what to do with the property. Right now, we are just trying to clear up the zoning issue.
Correct.
Okay.
That is the only action we're taking tonight is the rezoning.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Andrews.
Thank you. Thank you for the report. And just for transparency, I have visited the site sometime last year. Just wanted to know what would happen if we were to deny it. Just more detail if we were to deny this item.
So for context, when the City Council upheld the Planning Commission's recommendation to deny the rezone back in 2015, there was litigation from the property owner alleging that the city violated state law. At the time, charter cities did not have to have zoning consistency with the general plan. That was 2015, 2016 time period. In 2019, state law was amended. Charter cities are now required to have consistency between zoning and an amended general plan, or excuse me, an adopted general plan. So if the council were to make the same decision that it did 10 years ago, the result of the lawsuit would be different.
Thank you. And I just wanted to say you had a very thorough report on those actions, so I recommend that folks look at that report. And that was my only question for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Zermeño.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for the good report. You mentioned there was they were permitted to build an ADU. Was it built? I didn't see it in the photo. Is it somewhere?
Yeah, the ADU, the permits have been issued. It's currently under construction and ongoing inspections from our building division. It's located at the rear of the site.
Okay,
So
got it.
if I go back to the slides, you can kind of see it in the aerial in this area. It's in the rear.
All right. And I visited the place something like 5 years ago, 2019, when they were originally came to us. Okay. And you stated that they could build up to 8 units in this property?
That is correct. The actuality of the density allows up to 8 units. Whether or not the site can handle 8 units given the Alcos Priolo fault zone and some of the seismic landslide areas, that is unknown to staff if you could actually feasibly build 8 units.
All right. And I understand that if they wanted to do such a thing, they would have to come to us in order to have permission, correct?
Correct. They would need to submit an application to do so.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Syra.
Thank you, Mayor. And yes, thank you for the thorough report. So if I'm to understand this correctly, they can submit an application to build currently, but we can't apply our regulations and protections to that unless we rezone it.
Correct. We would only be limited in applying standards that wouldn't preclude the wouldn't limit the development potential. So that includes like height and setbacks and lot coverage and all of those things that we've adopted.
Okay, thank you. And then a question for the city attorney's office to piggyback off of Councilmember Andrews' question. What kind of financial liability do cities typically see when they deny something that's not aligned with their general plan?
Well, typically if there's litigation, it's a request for a court order to make the city rezone.
Okay.
So there may not necessarily be monetary damages.
Outside of staff time?
Outside of staff time and whatever attorney's fees internally, or if the city hired an outside attorney to litigate it. But
Okay.
it would generally be the form of a court ordering us to do the rezone.
Okay, understood. Thank you. Thank you.
Councilmember Goldstein.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for that very thorough report. And I think I know the answer to this question. When we, assuming we approve the rezoning, any changes, actual physical changes, they still have to go through the standard planning process. And as part of that standard planning process, review and approval process, they have to not only adhere to the regulations that we have for the property, but they also have to demonstrate, for example, that they are not in violation of the zoning issues relative to the landslide area, the earthquake, and all of that stuff. And they could, if they wanted to, do subdividing, but even if they did that, they would still have to come for any changes on the property, still come back for additional review and meet all of those conditions. Is that right?
That is correct. Any future changes to the property, including a subdivision or development of additional units, would require review and approval by the city, and we would apply all applicable standards, including life and safety standards, and it would be routed to those relevant departments to ensure that it meets all of those requirements.
Excellent. And so doing the zoning change today actually upgrades the quality and consistency and otherwise improves upon what the current condition is for that zoning, correct?
It would allow us the ability to fully enforce all of our objective standards.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you. We do not have any more questions from council, so now I'd like to turn to public comment. Our first speaker is Marcella James.
It's on? Okay.
You got it.
Hello. Hi, Hayward, everybody. I'm Marcella James, lifelong residence on East 16th Street, neighboring the proposed. Sure. So anyways, I'm lifelong residence on East 16th Street, just around the corner from where this property is at, and I do oppose the rezoning, simply because if it is rezoned, there's a few neighbors that are it's gonna affect our other neighbors. They have animals, you know, the neighbors, we enjoy that stuff. That's why a lot of us live up there, because it's still, you know, pretty rural. But as far as the construction of the ADU, does this pick up pictures off of the phone? Can I show you some of the
Yeah,
pictures?
if you turn the picture on, put it on top of the white square there. There you go, and then it'll project.
Just set it there?
Yes.
So these pictures that I took are of the ADU, and it's quite large, as you can see. The property surrounding it, like she said, is on a slope or whatnot. The last time we were here and it got denied, someone on the council stated that fire trucks and stuff had to be able to get up there and make a complete U-turn. I don't see that being possible with these photos. Next one, that's both of the houses on that property. The first one that was built, I don't recall getting any notification on the permit, you know, the applicant want to build that stuff. Same with the second one, it just all of a sudden was there. So we're kind of like, how'd that happen? Anyways, that's from Calhoun. I believe that would be the driveway going up to the property, but again, he put a retaining wall up there, so there's emergency vehicles are not gonna be able to get up there. This is the back side of the house. Closer to the tree is where the cliff actually drops. That's a slide zone area, I do believe. But again, we're just, you know, we want our neighborhood to stay authentic. We don't want anyone getting pushed out. You know, he's been welcome. And I don't know, we just, we just hope you guys don't let him bully you into, you know, agreeing to his plans. He said he doesn't plan on building anything else up there, but if you guys rezone it, then it leaves him open to change his mind the next day. And if he wants to subdivide it, I'm pretty certain, can't he do that without it being rezoned, since it was subdivided, and that's how he obtained that property. It was a larger parcel, subdivided, and he got his property. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Hema Buenostro.
Good evening, everyone. I am Hema Buenostro. I'm 16 years old, and I am a current student at Tennyson High School. I am the direct neighbor of where this rezoning is taking place, and I want to advocate to the rezoning not taking place, because this is going to affect my community and my household. I live in an architectural land where we have farming land, we have trees, we have animals. We're able to bond with our community through these animals and through this land, where we throw parties and we celebrate our culture and our identity. And if you take this rezoning, it'll change everything. It'll even take away our culture, which is the little bit that we have. And it affects us deeply, more than just calling it a different type of zone. It changes who we are as people. And this might force us to move homes or worse. I really just want you guys to take a good look at how much it's going to affect the community and the people that live around here. You know, just how he states that he's able to build up to 8 housing. And we've all been living here all our lives. Like me personally, I've grew up here, and this architectural land has made me who I am today. And to know that this might affect my future and future generations to not be able to experience what I've been able to experience throughout my lifetime is very harmful, you know. I grew up with my grandpa, which was the owner of the property that I live on now, and he's taught me everything that I know. And I've been able to experience things that many people my age haven't been able to, and to know that, like, my little cousins might never get to see the things that I've seen or experience the things that I've seen is very hurtful. And I feel like if you guys go through with this, you're affecting everyone that we've known, everyone that we might know. It's a real blow to the community, because I feel like that's all we have left. It's our culture, it's our land, and I don't think that should be taken away from us just because someone wants to make more money and profit off of this rezoning. So I truly hope that you guys really look into how it affects the people that help pay for everything. We work hard to be in this land, and we work hard to express our identity and to have this strong community. And we are trying so hard to fight for this. So I really hope you don't go through with this. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Grace Buenostro.
Hi, my name is Grace Buenrostro, and I'm here speaking on behalf of my wonderful husband, Raul Buenrostro, and my 3 kiddos who are currently in the audience. We were also here at the last planning meeting to express our sincere opposition to the rezoning of 900 Calhoun Street, even though Michael, the senior assistant city attorney, had mentioned that our request to oppose the rezoning would be futile because the property owner has the right to rezone his property. And if your hand is forced and you are having to approve this rezoning, I strongly urge you to consider amending the general plan so that no further properties can be rezoned in this area. I know it sounds like I'm being very dramatic and I'm asking for a lot, but this is part of our culture. We grew up around horses, animals, orchards, everything that makes me and my children who we are, and we would like for not only our children to enjoy this type of lifestyle, but their children, and so on and so forth. By approving this rezoning, you are opening the door and setting precedent for future generations to come in and develop the land that we work so hard to preserve and that we truly love. So again, if your hand is forced and you are having to rezone the property, please, I urge you to amend the general plan so that no further rezoning can take place in our wonderful neighborhood that we care so much about. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Chelsea Figueroa.
Hi, my name is Chelsea Figueroa. I am a resident at 1035 Calhoun Street, third generation of being on this property. My grandparents next door. My daughter will be fourth generation. I'm gonna try to stick to fact and not emotion here. Going back to the 2015 meeting, if you go and review that meeting, in that meeting, it was stated that they believed that there was a mistake in the general plan of the, including this in the general plan. That was stated from a council member during that time. It was also advised that it should be reconsidered, this part of the area. So that was also stated in the last meeting that we were here. Another thing that is greatly, I feel like this is very planned out on this property owner's part. The main house is over 40 feet tall. If this was built under low residential, he would not have been able to build that house that high. He built that house first, then went to go on to build the ADU, and now is requesting the zoning to be rechanged. Now the ADU fits in with the low residential requirements. The first house does not. He did not come and request rezoning when the first house was, before it was built, it was done after the house was built. He has stated that this is to be able to subdivide the property. It's very clear. This is a money move. He wants to move out of the main house and move into the smaller house up front and then sell the house and the big house. I don't know if you guys are aware, at 1201 Calhoun Street, that's Hayward PD's shooting range. They practice there during the day, during the night, well into the evening. You guys run trainings there. That will not be possible under low residential. You guys put people in those houses on that hill, you guys will for sure have complaints about gunshots. And I'm not talking regular 1 or 2, full rounds going off 10, 11 p.m. at night. That's possible that our PD has that area because of the zoning that we are in. My daughters participate in 4-H. That does not exist here in Hayward very often. You don't hear about kids being involved in 4-H, FFA, or any of those things. If the zoning is changed, my children will no longer be able to participate in those things because we won't be able to keep the animals. The money that they make for that goes directly into a college fund. That's something that we do. Up above, we had an estuary for many, many years where children were able to come and spend their summers. They spent their summers there. They would be dropped off and they got to be in direct connection with the animals, with the horses, with the goats, with whatever was around, learn the land. Children do not learn the land anymore. My daughter has seen birth, death, she knows responsibility, all of this because of what we are able to show her and provide her on this land. So I would highly consider, before you guys make any decisions, listen to the 2015 meeting. Take a look at the steps and how he's went about this, when he did which move. This was all very, very thought out. The pictures that Marcella shows the 2 areas next to him. When he picked this property, it was like the big red thumb going right in the middle. Mellow Mule Company. Also take a look. He attempted to sue the city of Hayward. He attempted to sue Mellow Mule Company because he didn't like the smell. So this is a direct attack on our community and the very low We don't have very many of these areas around. We are building left and right. And if we keep on continuing to do this, we'll have none. This will be non-existent in Hayward. There's very few areas. So I just urge you guys, please take a look at the general plan. Take a look at what was said in the 2015 meeting about this being a mistake as a part of the general plan. The only buildings that have went up in this area since the general plan has been this one. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Basilio Buenostro.
Hi, I'm Basilio Buenrostro. My dad's property is right next door. It's 890. My dad purchased that property to have horses and pheasants and chickens and everything. And we have trees. We came here in 2015. He came with me, but he couldn't make it this time because he passed away 4.5 years ago. But I'm here to say for you guys to reject it. This is one of the last streets that's, you go up there and it doesn't even feel like Hayward. You know what I mean? It's one of the last streets, and if you guys take this away from us, or if you guys make his property residential, we don't know if you guys are gonna go after my dad's property too. We just want to keep it the same, that's it. He went there and he purchased, and everything was agricultural. So I feel like just leave it that way. It's like, I live over there off by Southland. It's like me going over there, everything's residential. I got a big lot, can I make it agricultural because I feel like it? No, right? So, I don't know, I feel it's not right. Excuse me, I'm kind of stuck, but I don't know, it's for the greed and the selfishness of one person that we're here. It's like a money thing. It's very strategic, what he's doing. So I think in 2015, he wanted to make my dad's property zone it residential, and his, I think, to make a bigger house or something like that. So he got that. He got the bigger house. I don't know what else he wants. You know, the house, I think I see it on your guys' website, ADU is 1,500 square feet or less, right? That's a question.
We can't answer questions
Oh,
right
you guys
now.
can't answer
but
questions?
Yeah, we can't answer
And
questions.
that house is way bigger than 1,500 square feet. And it's right on the fault. And I don't know, man, like there's just no telling what he's gonna do. He'll probably build more, you said 8, he could build 8 per each, what is it called? On each side, right? He could build up to 8. So there's no telling. The traffic is bad already up there. It's an equestrian community, and we just want to keep it that way. He's just always unhappy. He's always trying to change things. We're always here because of him. And that's it, I think. I just want you guys to hopefully deny it. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Emily Figueroa.
Hi, my name is Emily Figueroa. I live at 1035 Calhoun Street, and I disagree with the zoning being changed. I disagree with the zoning being changed because if one part of the neighborhood gets changed, eventually the whole neighborhood will get changed. That means I won't be able to participate in 4-H. Another thing is, living up there has taught me many different responsibilities that kids in Hayward don't learn. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't have any more public comment cards, and I don't have any more there's no public comments online. So I will close public comments, and I'll return to the dais, and I have Mayor Pro Tem Roach.
Thank you. You know, obviously, this sounds like a wonderful neighborhood, and I can understand why you'd want to maintain your way of life. But I do have another question. So currently, would this decision on this property do anything to take away their ability to act as agriculture properties? Okay. And could any one of them sell at any one point and still be able to build 8 structures potentially under agricultural zoning?
Yeah.
Okay, and then a new owner could come in and do the same thing. Okay, and so
Correct.
this only has to deal with this one person's property?
Correct.
Okay. I think that, and then just to the point of the ADU, which does look large, like, is that in compliance? Are there any issues there with the ADU?
No, it is in compliance with our regulations. I'm sure it appears larger because there's also a garage that's part of it, but that's not part of the livable square footage of the ADU.
Okay, and then the house, the size of the house, that was an interesting point about that being for
All in compliance with the standard.
both agricultural
with the,
and
correct.
low density residential.
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Okay, I think that's all. I just wanted to be clear because I hear the point about like, this will take away our way of life, and I feel like, well, as long as they keep their property and maintain their way of life there, no one's coming to take it for them, even if we do this one property.
That's correct.
Okay,
There's
so
no proposed changes for anybody else's property in this neighborhood with the exception of the 900 Calhoun that's the subject of this application.
Okay, which I can understand, just having this one property will affect things, but it shouldn't take away everyone else's ability to continue to work your land the way you want to. And so I wanted to clear that up. And yeah, otherwise I do feel like we're caught in a technicality with the state law because it is different from 2015. Like we are now bound to come to compliance with our general plan. And so, I think to the one person, I think it was Grace, that this is a technicality. These are, as a person, trying to uphold the laws in the city as a lawyer, like there is a technicality here that gives him the right to do this, and it also keeps us in compliance with state law and city law. And so while I understand everything that you're saying, like I believe you will continue your way of life, and I think potentially there needs to be some mediation with the neighborhood in order to sort of come up with the ability to work together and live together in this environment where he has a right to do what he wants on his property, and you have a right to keep your property in an agricultural way of life. And so I do find myself, stuck feeling like I think he has a right to do this in order to, build the same number of structures that he could now. Any one of you could build the same amount, and this owner should be able to do that as well. I mean, but you heard the point that any structures that this owner does wish to build in the future does have to come back to planning and does have to be approved, and now will be approved under city standards, whereas under agricultural we wouldn't have that same right to deny a property or ask for more setbacks or make sure it's done properly within the environment. I think the term you said was life and safety standards, right? So that will be something under city standards that the planning department would be able to take into consideration as new structures come up. So that's how I'm feeling right now about it, and it does sound wonderful, and I understand the urgency of not doing this, but I'm sitting here feeling like this is a technicality, and I'm sorry I can't answer your question. That'll be up to the mayor.
Yeah, thank you. Councilmember Zermeño.
Mayor, thank you, and thank you all the public speakers. I hear you loud and clear. So, two quick questions. The ADU, did I hear the ADU is not built up to standards?
No, it's just not finished with the construction, but it complies with all of the required standards.
Okay, I misheard then, okay. And then my other question, so I did hear that from our speakers that they would not be able to continue being or living the way that they've been living, et cetera. They would lose their livestock. Is that true? This change would mean that they could not?
There's no change that would impact their ability to maintain livestock on their properties.
All right, so that particular part, that culture that was mentioned is still there and will be there.
Correct.
Okay. And then on the map, I understand the RL, there's an RLB6 and it's cut into little squares. Well, why is that? What is that? Or is that just, why the little squares?
Well, the RLB6 speaks to the minimum lot size of only 6,000 square feet, and that's not what's being proposed here. What's being proposed is the RLB10, which requires a minimum lot size of 10,000 square feet, so it requires a much larger lot size. The B6 is a much smaller minimum lot size. That's not what's being proposed tonight.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Andrews.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you to the public speakers regarding this item. I do want to follow up on a couple of comments. Wanted to know about the comment regarding emergency vehicles being able to turn around in the area versus what is built right now. I wanted to see if we could have a follow-up regarding that comment.
So the ADU and the house were both reviewed by the fire department and met all applicable provisions of the California Fire Code.
Through plan and what was physically built now?
Correct.
Okay. And then wanted to confirm about, it looks like the 1,500 square feet, which we talked about with the ADU and the fault lines. Just wanted to hear also whether there was a geotechnical report that cleared that.
The
that ADU.
Alquist-Priolo Fault Zone Act exempts ADUs, like single structures, from complying with the regulations, but our engineering department did review the ADU and made sure it met all of our life and safety standards.
And they also met the slide areas surrounding the whole
Correct.
property. Okay. And then wanted to also just reconfirm that we are only looking at this zoning for this property, no other properties on the street,
That's
no
correct.
other structures to be built on this property.
That's correct.
Okay. And this zoning is complying with the existing general plan. And there were 2 residents that were identified as being participants in updating the general plan, identified in the staff report. Just wanted to confirm, were those folks outside of this residence, or were there 2 other folks on that street?
They were not the applicant because he did not live at this site when the general plan was changed. It was 2 other residents along Calhoun Street.
Okay.
That were part of the neighborhood task force that developed the Mission Garin neighborhood plan, which changed the general plan land use designation.
So there are other residents that approved this zone change for the general plan?
Correct.
Okay.
The task force, I believe, had a total of like between 15 and 20 residents. Only 2 of them were on Calhoun Street.
Okay, thank you. I understand that this is something that you may not want to see, but unfortunately, you can see that the council is asking every question that we can regarding this this request, and it seems to me that it is a technicality, as Councilmember or Mayor Pro Tem Roach mentioned, and I think we also want to acknowledge that we know that whatever is going to happen at this piece of property is going to change the character of the neighborhood. We want to recognize that. But unfortunately, this is where the Calhoun Task Force agreed upon this particular area for that zone change to happen, and he's following what's existing in the law. I do want to also remind folks that you do have the opportunity, if you do see anything that you see that is not following that zone change or not following the land use designation, you have the opportunity to call the staff so they could come out and see what is happening in terms of construction and see if there's anything that is not fitting within the plan, that the staff will be available to help make sure that anything that is not being built to plan is being mitigated. So that's all the comments I have to say this evening. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Syra.
Thank you, Mayor. So we're looking at one property. Are there others that are non-compliant as well? Or were you saying earlier that this would only come back again if families that currently lived on those agricultural lots sold it and somebody bought it and wanted to bring it up here for development?
The property adjacent also has inconsistent general plan and zoning, but the city has no plans to rezone the property, so it would be at the act of that property owner or a future property owner.
Okay, so that property owner, if there's going to ever be any zoning change outside of the lot that we're talking about tonight, that would have to be brought by the person living there, not by the city. to them.
Correct, and it would have to come back before this body.
And the planning commission, I'm assuming?
Yes.
Okay, just wanted to confirm that. I saw 2 residential zonings, RLB 10 and LDR. Can you just clarify which one we're trying to move towards here tonight?
So LDR is the general plan land use designation. So that's what the general plan is. The zoning, which is most consistent with the low density residential general plan, is RL. The RL has several combining districts, which are the B districts, which dictate the lot size, as Director Bowser said earlier.
Great, thank you. We had a request from a commenter 2 weeks ago to de-jargonize things. I just wanted to make sure we clarified that. This might be a question for the chief. Please, Chief Matthew, sorry to pull you all the way up here. Can you speak a little bit to the use of the shooting range and maybe how that's interfaced with neighbors before, and then I'd also ask our planning department how this change may interface with the range going forward, or if there's different quality of life or sound requirements as a result. So I'll start with the chief.
Yeah, absolutely. We do have a range or a piece of private property that the city rents. I think it's 1200 Calhoun, so it's up the hill a ways. We do train there. Other agencies also train there. It is a fully outdoor range, so sound can be a potential concern. We do try to limit our training to reasonable hours, given the city's noise ordinances. So, for example, no training exercises go beyond 10 p.m. At least for us. And but they're depending on where homes that end up there could be a noise concern.
I can understand there being more residents and more, I'm sympathetic to the public comments there. I guess my concern would be, it sounds like this is an asset for city training purposes. Is there any concern that an addition of residents might, that would lead to us having to enforce our noise ordinance on them? Have we been in communication with this private range about this potential project?
We have not, that I'm aware of.
Okay.
The property is rented, from the Guerin family.
Yeah.
Just based on the address, looking at 900 Calhoun Street, I don't think there's going to be a physical concern.
Yeah.
But the noise.
More so just noise.
Yes.
Okay. Because given that there would be more residents, my hope would be that this range makes sure that there aren't folks violating the noise ordinance past 10 p.m. if that were the case. And then I guess turning it over to planning, for low density residential in terms of noise ordinance compared to agricultural, is there some kind of change in like the range of sound or?
This entire area is developed with single family, as you can see by what's up here. So we're talking about a periphery of homes that are, on those ag zoned properties that sit right adjacent.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the majority of this neighborhood is in the RL, in a low density residential already, developed with single family homes. There's no development proposed on this site beyond what's already developed on it. I'm not seeing more residents arising from the changing the zoning designation on this site.
Okay. Thank you. And then, let's see. Thank you, Chief. I think those are all the questions I have. And then I think that might be it for me on questions. I do want to thank the public speakers for coming out. I understand this kind of change can be nerve-wracking. I do maybe want to give an opportunity. Are you two gentlemen associated with the project? We just haven't heard from anybody that's actually putting this project forward, so maybe we can, is it all right if we give a minute for them to speak, Mayor? Okay. I'll have my comments there, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Goldstein.
Thank you, Mayor. So it's been said over and over again, but I think the message needs to hit home here. He can build 8 homes on his property right now. He could build 8 homes on his property right now with no zone change.
Point of order. Ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
So thank you for bearing with me. I know this is very uncomfortable for you, and I really, truly appreciate you taking the time to tell us your concerns. But here's the thing. The law says he can build 8 homes on his property right now. The zone change that we're proposing doesn't affect your properties, not directly anyway. He can still build 8 homes. If we do the zoning change, what it gives us, first of all, it puts us in compliance with state law, which we're obligated to do. And second to that, it gives us more authority to ensure that he meets all of the life and safety concerns that we have. And so it's actually an upgrade. The other thing is, whether he builds on the homes or not, the zoning designation might actually increase the value of your properties, which maybe down the road at some point when you decide to sell, if that's in the plan for you, that could be a benefit to you. Now, I was completely unaware until you came and told us of the kind of lifestyle that you enjoy there. It's very charming. I mean that in a good way. Please don't feel insulted by that comment. I mean it sincerely. I didn't even know that that sort of lifestyle even existed in Hayward, so I'm pretty clueless to it. And I've lived here for over 20 years now. But I think that our hands are tied by the state law, that we have to make the change. In my view, it's a benefit to you, not something less. It's not taking anything away. It might make the other properties more attractive for other buyers to come in. That might end up changing. But it doesn't change the basic fact that this owner today could build 8 homes on his property. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't see any more speakers here and from the council, but Councilmember Sarb.
Thank you. Just one more question, because there was a comment around moving forward with this rezoning, and I wanted to just clarify, there was a task force in the past that had designated these specific locations to be transitioned to these zones here. And that, can you just describe for the public's knowledge, that hasn't been up to date, because this has been a long saga.
Sure.
That process.
Sure. So I think in the 80s, in the 1980s, so this predates my time with the city, but in the 80s, there were a number of neighborhood task forces that were formed throughout the city of Hayward with the sole purpose of developing neighborhood plans, neighborhood, like long-range planning documents, goals, objectives, policies, ways that that neighborhood wanted to see their surrounding neighborhoods sort of develop and change over time. Mm-hmm. There were a number, through those sort of community-based processes in the 80s, all these plans got ultimately approved and adopted by council, the council at the time. Through that process, those committees, those task forces developed and looked at appropriate land use, general plan land use designations to be applicable on all of the properties within the boundaries of those neighborhood plans. The one from is it Mission Garin? The Mission Garin neighborhood plan in 1987, when that was adopted, through that process, it designated this entire area with that low-density residential general plan land use designation. It has held that same LDR general plan land use designation since 1987. Okay. So I think what we just wanted to provide some clarity for council and others, at least for the record, was helping to explain that it wasn't like this change just came about or was not part of a public community-driven sort of process, but it was that community, that neighborhood that felt that LDR was the appropriate general plan designation. Great. That inconsistency with the ag zoning has existed since that time. And then as we've seen, state law and other things have changed and evolved over time and have provided different allowances over time. But this general plan has remained that designation since 1987. It was not something that was done by this property owner or a different property owner, but that is what it's been, and it came about through that very public process.
Thank you for the additional context.
Mayor Pro Tem Roach.
Thank you. I mean, I feel the same way, that I think we're sort of, I think we're gonna have to make this decision today, right? That sort of that gets us into compliance. But to the point about the 2015 panel that talked about sort of that it was a mistake, that maybe that should be agriculture, or going forward, because I wonder, is this unique enclave that wasn't sort of really considered at the time, and would there be some discussion about this in the future to consider this agricultural? And I don't mean tonight, because I think I know where we are tonight, but in the future, I mean, if this is designated as some, like you said, unique enclave that wants to preserve its way of life up there.
I think where we just have to be careful is if there is direction to do something like that, where we're, as opposed to changing the zoning to match the general plan, but rather changing the general plan to be consistent with the ag zoning, you're essentially down zoning those properties. There could be considered a taking, so some things like that need to be looked at. But more importantly, we would have to look at what areas of the city we're going to upzone in order to accommodate that loss in development that we would be doing in this location if you were to change the general plan to be a lower density.
Okay.
So it's a little more complicated than, oh, well, let's just not do this. But, you know, it's going to take a little more analysis because we'd have to figure out what other areas we would upzone to compensate.
Okay, I mean, it's just interesting because I mean,
those impacts,
there could be discussion going forward to, it sounds like it'll be a long process, I understand it, but there's obviously some really strong advocacy from this community, and maybe this is a piece of Hayward that we want to maintain, you know, going forward, because I think people do, you know, once they buy the property and they have a right to act within the zoning allowances, which is what we're finding out tonight. But if there's some reason, you know, going forward that we could find a way to do that, then it would just be an interesting discussion in the future. I mean, obviously there would have to be advocacy and council input. So just thank you for that. And yeah, I guess we'll see on that one when we go forward. So thank you.
I have a quick follow-up, so I'm sorry.
Councilmember Syrup.
So this impacts our arena numbers, is that correct? What I'm hearing is when you talk about downzoning as a result of having the general plan reflect what's currently zoned, and then we have to upzone somewhere else, we're talking about shifting the commitment we've made to the state around the number of homes that we need to develop?
Yeah, essentially what the state says, it's called the no net loss clause, which
Okay.
says that the city's net capacity for housing development, so not our RENA, but just our total capacity for housing development, we are not allowed to lose capacity. So if
Okay.
we were to downzone certain properties, we have to upzone other properties to accommodate for the
Okay.
loss of units on these sites. Additionally, to add to Director Bowser's points, we would have to do CEQA, and it would be at the city's expense to reanalyze the change in the general plan.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right. I was just sitting here thinking, you know, the high school students, they left too soon because what other issue would you hear where you have zoning, with housing, with ag, with the law, with, you know, local municipal, you know, policymaking, and, you know, and so forth. So this issue, this little piece of property at 900 Calhoun Street carries a lot of intersectional policies, to say the least. And I know that this this property has had a lot of discussion around, not only up here on the dais, but just there's been a lot of staff time dedicated to this item over the years. And you know, first of all, let me just speak to the neighborhood. You know, I am very familiar with that block between Calhoun and Hancock. I know that street from Mission all the way up to the ridge line. I know that that is a heavy ag neighborhood. There's horses up there. There's ranchers up there that have been there for generations. There are 4-H families up there. You know, I know the police department is up there and they do their work up there, but I'm very familiar with the legacies that your families have carried on over the generations in that small little square of the city. It has, and that little square of the city has also has been at a very interesting sort of interface. I mean, you guys are literally this sort of section between, you know, the hills and downtown, Mission Boulevard, you know, the sort of urban ag sort of interface right there. And I mean, you know, some streets don't have sidewalks, some streets have sidewalks, some streets have just gotten sidewalks. So this little square of the city has been a very complex space for a very long time. And this is not a new issue. You know, and I know, and I'm also very aware of the history of the relationship between the neighborhood and Mr. Payar. I've been here long enough to know that it's been terse, and you know, there's certainly some mending needed in the neighborhood regarding this issue. You know, I also just want to acknowledge that I have a deep sense of respect for the families who want to continue and maintain your ag tradition. And I think that tradition, even regardless of what we do tonight, you know, your families will still be able to have your properties. You'll still be able to do have you know, horses and livestock and so forth. And so that's not really sort of the question here. And I think the question here is, we're trying to really iron out a technical part of the city's ordinances around these properties. I know we talked about building homes. I know we threw out, this little space here can accommodate 8 homes. I don't want to sort of set the alarm bells that Mr. Payar tomorrow is going to start building 8 homes on the small little property. It'll be a very tight space. But I also know that, Mr. Payar, you also know that in order to do anything on that property, you're going to have to come to us, and we're going to have to approve it. And you're going to have to go to the Planning Commission and have them approve it. And if we disagree with the Planning Commission, it'll get pulled and come up here where we'll have the ultimate say. And I'm hoping, based on the years that you've had to sit in the dais or sit in the chamber, that clearly there is a big sentiment in the neighborhood that they don't want you building big, monstrous homes on that property. And I would hope that you listen to that. And I would hope that you, whatever you do on that property, that you take into consideration, the people that are here, the families that are sitting behind you, and their histories in that block of streets. And so our hands are tied up here, and I know the Planning Commission did what they did, but it ultimately came to us. But I have to agree with Mayor Pro Tem Roach that all what we're trying to do here, we're trying to true this up. I don't want the neighborhood to feel that all hope is lost, because down the road you still have an opportunity to advocate and to block future developments on this property. And so with that said, I'll make a motion to approve staff's report or staff's recommendation, and see if I can get a second. And second by Councilmember Goldstein. And if there are no further questions, Madam City Clerk, you could please take roll.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to go ahead and start the vote. Councilmember Cermeño? Yes, okay. There you go, Mayor.
And the item passes with 6 yeses and 0 noes, with one absent. Okay. Our next item, moving on to our legislative business, which is item number 6, LB 25-033. This is adopt a resolution appointing Jennifer Ott as city manager of the city of Hayward effective December 8, 2025, approving the appointment, approving the employment agreement between Ott and the city of Hayward, and authorizing the mayor to execute the agreement. And I'll briefly pass this over to the city attorney, Mr. Lawson, and then I believe he'll pass it back to me.
Well, Mr. Mayor, I'll pass it right back to you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so for the last 3 or 4 months, the city of Hayward has been involved in the process of selecting a new city manager. In that process, we have conducted a search process. We have conducted a recruitment process. The search and the recruitment process was done through a consultant, and the consultant brought, of course, us a group of candidates. We interviewed this group of candidates. Then we whittled the list down to 3. And we then had a process where we had 3 stakeholder panels who had the opportunity to interview the candidates. One stakeholder panel was the City of Hayward executive team. The second panel were our labor partners. And then our third panel were the community. We had community stakeholders come in and have an opportunity to ask questions to the candidates. They provided us with feedback, and the council received all that feedback. We processed that. And then, of course, we had one last final interview with the candidates and with consideration of the feedback we had of all of the stakeholders. And I am prepared to announce that we have selected Ms. Jennifer Ott as the new city manager for the city of Hayward. And her start date is Monday, December 8, 2025. And that is the report I have as of right now. And this is a legislative item, so I will open it up for council questions. Councilmember Syrup.
Just comment.
Let's do questions first, and then we'll go to comment. There are no council questions. I will close council questions, open it up for public comment. I do not see any public comment. I don't have any public comment cards. I'll come back to the council, and I just wanted to report that I did talk to Ms. Ott this afternoon, and she is unavailable to be here in person, but she is online listening to us. And the reason why she is online listening to us is because she's also the current city manager of the city of Alameda, and they're in the middle of a council meeting right now, but particularly in a budget. They're in a budget discussion right now. And so, but she is listening. And since she is listening, I will go to Councilmember Syrup first for comments.
Great. Thank you, Mayor. Really excited to be moving this item forward. Not moving the item, I'll let you put that forward, but to be moving this item forward. I want to thank the Council Appointed Officer Committee for helping steward this process forward in such a short amount of time. This has been a very difficult year on the council as we faced a budget deficit that we did not expect, as well as a need for us to go through the city manager recruitment process a second time around. Just want to express my appreciation to our community stakeholders that participated in the interview process, our labor partners, and of course the executive team for weighing in and helping us make this really important decision for the future of our city. I also want to give a special shout out again to City Attorney Michael Lawson, as well as our interim city manager, Genty Adelman, for really holding it down as we've navigated this process to get to this decision, as well as our assistant city managers, Mary Thomas and Regina Youngblood. The year ahead is going to be difficult still. We haven't tackled this deficit problem yet, and I want to make sure that we celebrate the occasion of bringing in a very experienced city manager that has deep ties and deep history to Hayward. I'll save our fanfare for her first day on the job or her first meeting on the job because we're just approving the contract tonight, but I am feeling optimistic, and I think that's really what I wanted to share here. Is it has been a difficult year, and I feel like we're beginning to stabilize, we're finding our footing, and I think working with Jennifer as our next city manager is a step in the right direction. So I'm looking forward to this next year on council with her. Congratulations, Jennifer, and thank you to the council. This has been a very significant learning process, but I'm happy to have done it with all of you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Roach.
Thank you. Yes, I just wanted to congratulate Ms. Ott. After a rigorous process, she showed us what she can bring to the city and what a professional she is. And I think the city already knows her, having worked here before. So I'm just thrilled that she's decided to come back, even in our current tumultuous times where our budget is concerned. It's a risk for her, and we're very excited to welcome her back. And I look forward to working with her. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Bonilla.
Thank you, Mayor. I also wanted to thank everyone involved in the process, including HR and the external recruiter, But I also wanted to say a special thanks to our interim city manager, Adelman, and also to city attorney Lawson for their leadership during this interim period. The stability and the leadership that they displayed really did keep the ship afloat during, what could have been a pretty tumultuous time, but I think we were able to move forward strongly because of your leadership, so thank you. And I also just want to say congratulations to Jennifer. Jennifer's return to Hayward feels a little bit like a welcome back to a trusted colleague and leader who knows our community well. I had the pleasure of working with Jennifer when I served on the Planning Commission, and I know her to be smart, to be compassionate, and to really be the type of leader that our city needs. So really looking forward to working with her in her new capacity as Hayward City Manager. Her leadership style reflects the values we hold dear: transparency, collaboration, and service. And I think at this important time in Hayward, her ability to bring people together around shared goals will make a real difference. So welcome home, Jennifer. We're excited to build the next chapter of Hayward's story with you. We look forward to working with you. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Andrews.
Yes, I also wanted to thank this council-appointed official committee for moving forward with this recruitment. I also wanted to thank particularly the E-team, as I know this has been a challenging time for you all as well, seeing changing leadership, but I hope you see someone as a boomerang employee who can come back and get up and running very quickly. So wanted to thank you all for your patience as we found leadership for this from this role. I also wanted to thank the recruiter, but particularly thank the Director of HR, Ian Texan, for all his hard work and not just coordinating with the recruiter, but coordinating 3 panels is not an easy feat. There are a lot of different schedules, a lot of different personalities, and all those things you have to manage in order to get folks into one room is very challenging. So I wanted to acknowledge your efforts there. I want to thank all of our labor partners. I want to also thank the community panel for taking time out of their personal schedules and their work schedules. Some folks took work off to be on this panel. So I just wanted to give special kudos to all of them, and thank the E-team as well for being on the panel. Your voice is very important in this process, and we wanted to make sure that you all were heard. Wanted to give special thank you to the assistant city managers, Regina Youngblood and Mary Thomas. I know you all have been working, are burning the midnight oil and getting us information that is a lot of information on both fronts, whether it's something related to the city manager, but also our budget. So just want to make sure you all are getting your kudos for that. And thank Attorney Lawson and thank John T. Alderman, our acting city manager. Just wanted to acknowledge your efforts during this time. I know it was a lot to take on because even though you had your world still in law and library, you had to take on a whole city. So I wanted to thank you so much for guiding us during this time. I also wanted to just thank all of the city staff and thank the public for just really being patient with us as we look forward to this new leadership. Even though this is a familiar face, she's learned a lot of things along the way. She is, Jennifer Ott has demonstrated leadership in City of Alameda, and she's taken everything she learned from Hayward, and we're gonna get the best of that. She is a respected city manager throughout the state, and we are so fortunate to have her come on board and help guide us during this time. So thank you to also the council. I know this has been a challenging time for us as well, but I think we are on the right path. Thank you all.
Thank you. Councilmember Zermeño.
Mayor, thank you, and I certainly agree with everything that's been stated by my colleagues. It's tremendous. The thanks that goes to everybody is tremendous. I believe the one thing that has not been mentioned about Ms. Ott is that she is bilingual in Spanish and English. I think that's important for our community, but I believe that her other qualities are just going to take our city forward very well. We are in good hands. And I echo colleague Andrew's comment of thank you for being patient with us, and we will do this. Why is my microphone Well, but anyway, thank you, Mayor, and thank you all, and good days are ahead.
Thank you. Councilmember Goldstein.
Thank you, Mayor. There's many, many people that should be thanked. This was truly an Herculean effort to make this work so quickly, but more importantly, to do it with precision. And we could not have done this without the tremendous support of our city staff and executive team and everyone that played a role in helping through the vetting process, our labor partners, our community members who sat in on the panel. You took a central role of helping to organize all these events, just did a fantastic job. Our recruiter in finding us great candidates. And I've got nothing but absolute respect and gratitude for everyone that played a role in this. So thank you. Oh, also, welcome, Jen.
Thank you. I wanted to acknowledge, I know Ms. Ott is online, and while we were negotiating her contract, you can read all of the accompanying materials online. What she has done to show solidarity with the executive team and with the council, she has made concessions to her salary at the very outset as she enters this new role on the 18th. She has, through pausing some of the benefits of her contract, she is starting off by giving back 4.5% of her salary or of her benefits package to the city. And every little bit counts today when we're trying to navigate out of our budget woes. And I absolutely respect the fact that she acknowledges that, and she is walking into this building with this type of posture. So I wanted to thank her for that. I have known Jen, Ms. Ott, for some time now. I agree with everything that is said. She is well respected. She's an impeccable administrator. The community knows her. The organization knows her. The city knows her. And I think the council did a great job in finding the right person for the city and the right person who will lead our city into our next phase, our next chapter. I did want to highlight, and I wanted to thank our consultant, Valerie Phillips. Wanted to also acknowledge and thank the CAOC committee, which is Mayor Pro Tem Roach and Councilmember Goldstein. The process was a little different this round, but yes, we had, the timeline was very short, so we had to be perfect this time around, and we had to be precise. And so I absolutely want to just acknowledge them. Of course, our HR director, thank you very much for all of your support. And with that, it is my honor and my pleasure to move this item.
Second.
And so we can get on this train sooner than later. Moved by Mayor Salinas, second by Mayor Pro Tem Roach. And Madam City Clerk, you may take the vote.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to go ahead and start the vote.
And the item passes unanimously with 7 ayes and no noes, 0 noes. And Ms. Ott, as you see, the chamber is filled with people, and we are applauding to the new. It's not filled with people, but we all. As soon as I said that, the producer in the back shows a picture of the audience. But congratulations, Ms. Ott, and welcome back to the city of Hayward. Moving on to our next item, which is council reports and announcements. Are there any council reports and/or announcements? Seeing none. Councilmember Cyrus.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to give a shout out to everyone who was able to attend the Hayward Night Market this past Saturday. We had, I came a little bit later, so I don't know how many attendees there were, but it was pretty packed when I got there, and 300 pumpkins were distributed to families. I'm really excited to see what the kids and families make of them on Halloween. And I'm hoping someone's gonna make a trunk or treat announcement soon, but I'll let somebody more affiliated with the library say that next. We already did earlier, okay.
Yeah, but I
just
think
want to
we
give a
can
shout out
say it.
to.
I think, we'll ask our library, our designee to the library commissioner to.
Thank you. Yeah.
Great. Sorry, I just want to give one quick shout out. Shout out to Alex and shout out to Vanessa for organizing the Hayward Night Market, and a big thank you to Zach Abadi with Special Events for helping support making that happen, and of course to St. Rose for helping host it. Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you. Yes, our Assistant City Manager mentioned it earlier, but this Saturday is our annual Trunk or Treat event at Heritage Plaza from 11 to 3. Was that right? 11 to 3. It's become a bigger and bigger event. I think this year we're going to try to reorganize how we start everyone, because in the past everyone has to start in one big line and wait. And I think that we're going to try to keep people like flowing easier this time to get everybody moving and not standing in the hot sun before they can get candy. So please come, bring your kids, and it should be a really fun day. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Andrews.
Did we also mention there's a fundraiser for the animal shelter on October 25th on B Street? ZombieCon. Yes, ZombieCon is coming to B Street, so you'll see a bunch of zombies on B Street donating to the Hayward Animal Shelter. So please come out in your best zombie gear, and there's a list of participants available at I think it's on the Hayward Animal Shelter Instagram.
Right, Casa del Toro, Stein Center, Dirty Bird, and Buffalo Bills.
Okay, and I think it starts at around 6 p.m. So I look forward to seeing some folks there. Thanks.
Thank you. Next is council referrals. There are no council referrals. Ladies and gentlemen, meeting adjourned.
Record.